Hi there, it is, what is the date? What is the date? I know it's Wednesday. Thought I would do just a short vlog about stuff that I'm getting up to. It's everyone's pretty much, well, Australia's not in lockdown, but we are at stage 2, so a lot more businesses closing today. And the schools are going on holidays quite early, so there's a change there. For me, not much change going on at home simply because I work from home, so it's no big deal. The only thing that I'm doing is I am physically distancing from my parents for the last week. So it's kind of been weird not going over there because I go there once or twice a week to see them. So we're doing the Viber and the Skype thing. In the meantime, I've been keeping myself busy with work. As you might know, I work for a company called Adopt and Embrace, and we're busy helping organisations implement Microsoft Teams and get their workforce ready for remote work. So while I work on that Monday through to Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays are my days off, where I either pick up kind of like freelance work under Activate Learning, or I just do my own thing. And the majority of time now, as I'm aging, I've noticed I prefer to do my own thing. And the reason is I need some, just for my mental health and well-being, I want to spend 2 days of the week actually learning and taking time out for myself. With that, I have been reading and have been quite busy reading, to the point that I haven't been doing the video interviews, or not the video interviews, the video reviews at all. So the books I've been reading, I'll just show them to you here. Excuse me. Albert Camus, I bought this book at a secondhand bookstore, and for $2. Little did I know that it would come relevant in reading it at this time. I found it actually quite slow. I've never read Albert Camus before, and you know how it is when you go, ooh, you read Albert Camus. Well, so what? Now if you read it in original French, that would be different. But I found the book actually quite slow, and I think I only gave it 3 stars in Goodreads, simply because I thought, oh, come on. But the bits that I did like were the bits of humanity through it, and understanding, I guess, the slowness of people slowing down as they try to isolate. So this book was pretty much gives you an idea of what to expect. And if anything I got out of it is you can't do anything. Just isolate, lay low. Think about this time as time to reflect and reassess. That's all you can do. Now, the second book I read, which I loved this one, was the Book of Noelle. As you know, I really enjoy the book reviews of Clifford Sargent from the YouTube channel called Better Than Food. Love his reviews, and in fact my reviews are just shit compared to others out there on YouTube, so I highly recommend you go and see what he says. So he recommended Book of Noelle, and I bought it on Book Depository, and I was surprised. Look at the size, it is tiny. It's about 114 pages, and the book itself is actually split into 3 sections. So there's the words of Noelle, there's the sisters of Noelle, and then there is what's the third section? It is about Noelle herself. Now the story is all about Marcel Schwob, the author, fell in love with a very young prostitute he found on the road, and she had TB, and he didn't nurse her to health, but he nursed her for a couple of years as she fought this horrible disease. And he loved her so much that this is really his beautiful testimony of the sadness and the grief that he went through when she passed away. And so his love is actually now forever in this book. And it is, as you read it, it is so beautiful that you could see his pain and his grief come out. He so loved her, and we get an idea of what she was like and how she kind of grounded him in some way and provided him with comfort. And yeah, I think she lives on through this book. So very highly, highly recommended. Now, what's the cat doing? He's been driving me nuts. He hasn't been sleeping during the day. Anyway, so what else am I reading? I did order the books again by Clifford Sargent's recommendations, Charles Bukowski. So I'm reading not Post Office, I'm reading Tales of Ordinary Madness. And I must admit, at this time, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking, God, this guy just doesn't care about life. He doesn't care about everything. He's actually wasting his life. And he just kind of makes it even more relevant at the time of COVID-19, where I just think, man, what are you doing with your life? Freaking get over your background and move on. So I'm already like 43 pages in and I'm going, okay. Whereas I did enjoy Ham on Rye, which was his sort of autobiography. Now, there is another book. Let me find it. That I must admit, I was in total shock when I read it. And again, Clifford, he recommended it. So he recommended it and I thought, right, he raved about it. And he raved it so much that I thought it's got to be a good book. But to the point that I didn't even read the reviews, did I? I just went out and bought it. That was like the first time I've ever done that. So I read the book, I got the book, and then can you imagine my surprise when I opened up the pack from Book Depository and read this. Bataille's first novel, published under the pseudonym of Lord Auch, is still his most notorious work. In his explicit pornographic fantasy, the young male narrator and his lovers Simone and Marcel embark on a sexual quest involving sadism, torture, orgies, madness, and defilement, culminating in a final act of transgression, shocking and sacrilegious. The story of the eye is the fullest expression of Bataille's obsession with the closeness of sex, violence, and death, yet is also a hallucinogenic in its power and one of the erotic classics of the 20th century. No, I didn't get that at all. Man, as soon as I read that, I thought, oh my God, why didn't I read the reviews first? I just went out and bought it. And then, look, this is how I read this book. As I started the first chapter, I just went, oh, my eyes popped out of my head, right? And I started reading the first chapter and I went, oh, okay. Then, second chapter, when they're pissing on each other and doing all sorts of disgusting things, I'm thinking, where's this going? Where is this going? And then I had to kind of stop around 1/3 of the way in and then go to YouTube and watch other YouTube reviewers review this book just to try and understand what they were seeing in it. And then I had to, once I watched all the reviews, I went back to the book and I started reading it, and every chapter just started getting worse and worse and worse. Worse in the sense that the acts of transgression, as they describe it here, are becoming worse, to the point just disgusting and abhorrent. But then I had to kind of stop myself and I thought, if other people are loving this book, I had to go onto Goodreads and read the reviews and people loved it. And I thought, what am I missing here? What am I missing? And then I decided, no, I'll read Susan Sontag's chapter on the back describing his pornography art. And so I read her essay and I read the other explanation of it. I mean, half the book is just on the essay of this book. And I still don't get it. And I'm thinking, what am I missing here? And as I continued reading it, I went, yep. And I felt bad. I thought, does this mean that I've been tarred, I've been tainted by religion, which is right, which is not right because I'm not religious. I'm not religious at all. And I certainly don't care about what the church thinks. But I found this really grating on my nerves, even though I did try to do as much as possible to try and understand it. And the more I read it and I read it twice, I thought to myself, why is this story irking me? I'm thinking about it all the time. And I realized that it goes against my principles. Now, the author, I thought, the way I understood it, the author was trying to, I think what he was trying to do was he was trying to say that you are closest to death or closest to life, the closer to death you get, okay? So, and sometimes as humans, we want to do and transgress so much, and we don't want any boundaries. We want to kind of get to that because that would be the highlight. I mean, I have no idea. I can't even explain this book. But the reason I don't get it and I don't understand it is because, to me, sex, violence, and death are kind of irrelevant. They're irrelevant to me, okay? In the sense that I don't think they're the be-all and end-all that everyone makes them out to be. Yeah, sure, they're around, okay? But I think I go against what the message of the book is. For me, life is all about love and compassion and generosity. Love. It's mainly about love. It's not, this book just basically obliterated everything I thought about life. It goes against whatever they did in this book, pissing on each other, pissing on the mum, having sex with eggs, you name it. It's just, it goes against everything that I, in my life, think is worthwhile. And it's all about, for me, it's all about love and compassion. And this was not it. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about that. That'll go in the dump. Right, okay, that is all I have to say for Wednesday. God, I wish they get rid of this COVID-19 cure. We need a cure.